Welcome to the O Brother Podcast with hosts Dan and Mike Smith, brothers from the same mother with different opinions on movies, TV, video games, and more, plus celebrity interviews. Get ready, get set. It's time for the O Brother Podcast. Welcome to the O Brother Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Smith. Alongside me, as always, my brother from the same mother, Mike Smith.
How's it going, Dan?
Back in the saddle again.
Yeah.
You know, every time we do,
tonight.
yeah, we got a couple of guests on the show tonight. Now that's only happened one other time, which was when we interviewed the Nelms brothers. Yeah, Ian and Esham Nelms. Yeah, and
I'll still, until we have them back on and apologize.
Yeah, it haunts us that we butchered his name. But you know, we were talking a little bit about like, how are they going to show up on the stream? Are they going to come in one thing, or are they, you know, is he on location?
I guess it depends, right? I guess that's what it depends
I don't know.
on. If they're home,
right?
I'm sure they'd do like what we did, sit in front of the computer.
Yeah. Without further ado, we're going to welcome in our guests, Summer and Kerry Bellessa.
Thanks for having us. Hey guys.
Hey guys. Okay, so that answers the question. You guys are in the same space. We're like, are they going to be like in separate spaces? And
yeah, we didn't know if you'd be working.
Yeah, you need to wear a, you know, some sort of cardboard outline on you or something.
Yeah.
So you were having issues. Did you get the thing? Oh my God, we got to download Chrome. Let's just bag this whole thing. Let's just
we're like, okay, perfect timing. We have a few moments. Okay, let's hit this. And then it's like, you do not have, like, Safari does not.
You made it so difficult, guys.
I know.
So we downloaded that. Super. Actually, I already had it on. I tried to download it. It's like, you already have Chrome. Just got to pull it up. Then
we make all our guests work for it.
That happened to me. And, you know, I have Safari and he is screaming at me. We got a guest that's waiting and he's screaming at me, you know, hurry up, get it download. I'm like, I don't know how to download.
You know, Kerry can empathize with me because of sort of like from a production standpoint, right? And you're trying to get everybody to hit their mark and you just get a little obsessive.
And
right?
It's like the sun's going down, you know, we're trying to get that perfect, you know, shot that, yeah. But we got it. We got it. We're wrapped on that. So don't worry, guys. We made it.
What is it? The Magic Hour? Is that
Magic Hour?
Yes.
Magic Hour. So we wanted to find out, we do this with all the guests we have on the show, which is we first want to get into, because we got a whole bunch that we want to talk about, including Immanence. We're going to get to that.
We do. Cool. Whatever.
But we got to find out your origin story. So
like how you met.
How did you guys get together?
So
is that a NSFW? Is that like, can we tell us?
Oh, that is.
No, we I had a friend that was living on my couch and she went out on a few dates with a guy living on his couch.
Couch surfers.
So they didn't pay rent.
Never paid rent for like 9 months.
Cece did she did a little, but she contributed a little bit more than your guy. But yeah, so that kind of got us into the same orbit. And we Kerry claims that it was my game plan all along, but I invited a bunch of friends to go to the batting cages in Sherman Oaks. Thank you.
Oh.
California.
I thought in a paint store you guys were playing.
Yeah.
I got home before on our mind. We're redoing a house right now too.
Oh, wow.
So.
And funny thing is, when Summer turned 21 years old, my buddy invited me to her birthday party and I went and we didn't meet or talk. Didn't even talk. She was so busy. There was like a line of guys at her birthday and sat at the table and was like, oh, seems like a nice girl. But I don't even think she looked at me.
So you both lived in the same area?
Yes.
Yeah, we were in Los Angeles at the time.
Okay, so Summer, because you've been like all over the place. I didn't know, you know, where you were, if you grew up there or.
I grew up in Chicago, actually.
Okay.
And then around 16, I started modeling. Well, actually around 4, I started modeling. But 16, I started doing it more full time. So I went to Japan multiple times, to Europe, to New York. And then I moved to LA when I was 19.
Oh, nice.
Wow. Mike, you started modeling, what was it, 17, 18?
Yeah.
Well, actually,
a protege. I was the Gerber baby.
Oh, no.
He's actually modeled with me a few times for like photo shoot. Like he's booked some stuff with me.
2 paid professional jobs where I got paid as a family. We have 3 kids, but every time they cut me out. I've never made the final print. Yeah.
So what are the, I mean, you bring that relationship to the work that you do, and relationships are hard enough. And then marriage is
so
easy.
So there's nothing to it.
Well, we married 20 years in January.
20 years.
Congratulations.
Wow. Yeah, congrats.
And how old are the kids? We know you got 3 kids.
11, 9, and 5.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
We told them, shut up. 45 minutes. Hopefully they're not strangling each other.
Will they wander in perhaps?
We've had a few Nova where she just wants to give me a quick hug and then she'll leave, and
so we'll see what happens.
So what are the pros and cons of being a couple working on projects together? I mean, there's got to be some highs and some not so highs.
For sure. I think the pros are no one works harder for you than your person. And I think that is the pro. Like if he needs something done, if I'm producing his project, I will do whatever needs to be done and make it happen. In fact, for Immanence, we had an actor that was going to play the part that I ended up playing. And it ended up not working out. And so I jumped in kind of last minute to fill that part.
Yeah. Even though Summer was better than this person, we had some.
Of course.
Good answer.
But there were some things with another, when you're putting a film together, you have to use your chips to get this. I get that in return here and there. And there was kind of some, deals being made for beach and, but it all worked out, I think, how it was supposed to. And the pros are I have the majority of the pros because Summer is 7 people. She is focused. She gets so much done. And then she has to put up, I try not to, I don't know why, but I can be kind of overbearing or obnoxious. And I'm trying not to for the next one, but sometimes we have a shorthand and I'll just yell. There's 10 other people, but for some reason I don't need them. I just need Summer. So I'm always yelling for Summer, and everyone's like, "Why are you always yelling for Summer?"
When you're married, you can talk to each other a little bit more intimately than you would that you professionally just met.
Faster.
Right. Hey, do this. Cause you don't feel hey, I really appreciate you. Would you mind going and get this? We have that hey, grab this, do this. How's this going? Do that, that kind of back and forth.
No need to be polite.
Right.
Yeah. But I'm very polite. Summer says I'm so nice and kind and sweet to everyone else. But then when it comes to her, I need,
Yeah, he's going to work on it.
I'm working on it.
Because what I think is great about him as a director, he really wants to make sure everyone feels a part of the process, that they know that he appreciates them and all their hard work. But sometimes I think because we're married, he doesn't think I need to hear that. So he'll literally go down the row and skip over me and go to the next person. I'm like, hey, what about me?
You forgot someone.
You could give me some love too.
I made a couple mistakes that way on the last one, but
but I'm a good producer. I didn't mention it till into post, and I was like, hey, P.S.
By the way,
I didn't want to make the shoot more stressful for you, trying to deal with this, but next time.
And
gotta do better.
But Summer's the face of our next one. We're doing our next one with Lionsgate.
Oh, really? You're already working on it.
Is the face,
Face.
Producing it, like us together. She's always on all the Zooms and the calls with Lionsgate, with everyone. She's really good. And then she's always good at like delivering me good or bad news. Or if I'm on Zoom, I could probably say something or be obnoxious, or I don't know, maybe just be like, what are you talking about? We need that in there. And Summer is a great buffer. And she's really good at like,
well, I know what he wants.
Talking me off a ledge, talking me with certain, it's like, she's really good at
walking that line between what we need to get done.
Yeah.
You know, being, hearing everyone what they want to say, but also stay true to our artistic vision.
Well, that's good, because as a director, everything's coming at you, 100 questions. So to have you be able to maybe mitigate some of those people coming and asking questions probably helps the production move along a little better.
Yeah.
Yeah, she knows everything that's going on.
So yeah, how does that play out with the renovations? Is it a similar dynamic?
No, I just like try to hide.
No, that is a similar dynamic.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, here's what we're doing. Here's the plan.
Yes.
This person's coming at this time.
I need you to sign this.
Yeah.
And then I just argue with some guy I don't even know. And why do you want so much money for this or that? Or she'll do like a year of research and I'll be like, are you sure? And I just need to stay out of things.
Yeah.
She knows what's going on.
Are you just in the beginning phases of this renovation, or is this like months?
We're like 4 months in right now, on doors and windows and
a lot of exciting things.
Stuff.
So did you move into a new place, or you're renovating an existing place you lived in?
We bought a new house.
You bought a new house. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, an old house.
It is an new to us house.
Yes.
Right.
Making it your own. So how long production was Immanence? This came out in February, right?
Yeah. The shoot.
The shoot. Yeah.
Yeah. The shoot was 3 weeks.
Wow.
We did 6-day weeks, which I would not advise ever again.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah. 6 days with only 1 day off, and they were all night shoots.
That sometimes I feel like is better though when you're doing night shoots, because we're on such a weird schedule that like if you had 2 days where you could get back into a schedule, it could make it harder to get back into that. Like go to bed at 5 a.m.
Yeah, I mean
6 a.m.
Yeah, it was a nocturnal grind, but
yeah, when it started and you were going out on the boat, I thought, oh, everybody's going to get seasick. But I'm guessing since you shot at night, you kind of fooled us. You weren't on a boat, were you? Or were you?
Oh, yeah. We were on a boat. I mean, I hate boats. I hate the ocean. It's so scary and creepy in the middle of the night. And I get seasick. I like when we were scouting, I was like throwing up over the side of the boat. Like
So you were out there for 6 weeks?
3 weeks. For 6 days a week. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And I just pumped myself full of Dramamine, wore these like bracelets, were wearing things behind my ears. I mean, I had everything except like a hazmat outfit, you know?
So, I mean, it's night shoots, you're on the water, you're in a boat, a tight space, you got this ensemble cast. The dialogue, I mean, reading those lines must have been crazy, like all of the technical jargon and stuff. So, I mean, it must have just been all kinds of, how can we make this the most complicated shoot for ourselves?
I know, we're so stupid. I mean,
this is what I was saying.
Yeah.
Matt, Eugene, Michael, Anthony, they are pros. Eugene also, that's
Davis, Jonah, and Roman.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
They came in, they've all been on very serious shows where they've had to memorize tons of dialogue. Eugene being on Bones, where he had a lot of medical jargon that he had to say. He has a photographic memory. So he read the script one time and came on set and just did it.
Never. Yeah.
Wow.
He brought so much to it also. I mean, all three of them, I think, were so amazing. And they just came in, and Jamie McShane also, he just came in knowing his stuff, doing that work prior, and just came in and nailed it.
Creepy.
But
And
you were the
Michael-
only one that got thrown in the water in the cage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you have like an aversion to, baths now or going to the beach, or is that curtailed some of the summer fun this summer?
No, in fact, I was on swim team. I was a lifeguard growing up. And
Oh,
so
wow.
I think I was very comfortable in the water and was able to do that, even though it was, I was kind of surprised how it wasn't physically as hard as it was like psychologically hard to go under the water in a cage and like let all the air out of your lungs and still be in a cage underwater was like psychologically hard to like keep doing it over and over.
Yeah.
But
she did
Yeah,
it.
I'd be
like,
freaking out.
it was like it was the 18th day, our last day, and she was in the pool like all 12 hours. Like she didn't even get out on our like lunch break. She would just sit in the hot tub with all her clothes on. It was
So Michael Beach, how did that relationship come about? Because he's a producer on the film too.
Yeah. So what's cool is, so we have 2 little boys, and Michael has 2 little boys, and
he has way more.
Well, he has 8 kids, but
2 of his kids happen to be the same age as our kids.
Yeah, and they were all in a tap dancing ballet class. We were just kind of acquaintances. I was kind of more of like the fanboy, like, hey, what's up? My name's Kerry. I've seen your work. How is it working with these people? But, I didn't want to bother him or anything like that. And then here comes Summer with how she was able to help us out.
So how did you close the deal, Summer?
Well, actually, so I used to write for a website called Babel that was owned by Disney, and I did parenting things. And I let Rockwell, who was at the time, I think 3 or 4, I let him dress me for a week, and it went viral. It was on Yahoo, and Good Morning America, all this fun stuff. And Alicia, Michael's wife, because of that trend, she let her son dress her for a week. And so I had reposted her, and I started following her because of that. And she had been following me. And so we kind of became Instagram friends. So we didn't realize that until we got into the class. And she was like, I know, I follow you because of Toddler Stylist. And so we had already been friends. And so she started a podcast, and she does these amazing events for moms. And so we had kind of become friends in real life.
Hey there.
Hey. Hello.
We had become friends in real life.
We have a new guest.
Yeah.
It's a production assistant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so nice.
Yeah. So we had become friends in real life, and it started with online friends. And then when Kerry had this film that he's like, I think this is our next one we should do, then I was able to call her up and be like, hey, do you think Michael would read this script? And she was like, listen, he gets tons of scripts. No promises. Yeah. But when he started reading it, like he stop, and he called Kerry right away and was like, is all this stuff true? Like I've never heard of a lot of this stuff. It's really interesting. Like I'm in, like, let's go do it.
He's so intense too.
Yeah. Kerry, you were talking about directors. I was reading about the different mentors you had and worked with, Gore Verbinski and other people. There was a lot of big names there.
Yeah, I was lucky to kind of be on the sidelines and watch these individuals, and see how they do things. And they'd probably be like, who's this guy? But I was always around. I worked a ton before I went to school. After, I was like working in every department, whether I was art directing or gripping or doing stuff. Yeah, I was really lucky at the time. One of my best friend's sister was a producer at this prolific commercial house where it was like Fincher, Spike Lee, Spike Jones. It's like when all those guys were doing like those $1 million commercials, one time our production designer, funny story, I was the first day on this David Fincher commercial, and I got hired through a friend of a friend, because that's kind of how everyone gets it. And he walks in. His name was Chris Gorak, and he's like, "Hey, Kerry, how are you?" It's like, "Good." He's like, "We'll be spending a lot of time with Fincher around here," and he's like, "Don't ever look him in the eyes." And I thought, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" I started laughing. He's like, "I'm dead serious."
No, seriously.
Wow.
I thought that was kind of funny, but he seemed nice. I never really looked him in the eyes, but he was always seeming like he was a filmmaker. And but yeah, that's my Fincher story. Even though he'd probably be like, "Who's this guy?" Once again.
When
I
did
was
you?
told not to look him in the eyes.
Yeah, and you obeyed. When was this filmed? When did you guys film Immanence?
Hit the fan in March.
Oh, wow.
Like no one would do this again. Like we all, whole crew lived on that boat. I mean, it was so tight. Everyone's turning around.
Did you plan the February release? I mean, was that kind of what you were targeting, or?
No, it just happened after we made the film, going around looking for distribution and things like that. I think it was just the best option that they kind of gave us. What do you say? Was that just kind of? It took a little longer than it should have. You know, it's crazy how much time, like legal things, and like it's kind of annoying, to be honest with you. Like it's super annoying. You just want to make a good film and
get it out there to people.
Yeah, get it out there.
But there's so much. I mean, it's art and commerce, so nothing's done without lawyers and everyone.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that about art too, because that's another thing I was thinking about is, you've been in the business now a while, and so what is the level of anxiety when that project is done and now it's time to share it with someone else? I mean, it's I think Mike and I can relate to that in different ways on smaller scales maybe, but that's something I was curious about. What does that look like from your view?
I mean, is
it terrifying, or is it just satisfying that you've made this thing? And
I think it's more satisfying now. Like as I'm older and I'm married, I have kids, like
priorities. Yeah.
My self-worth and who I am comes from my family, my children.
Mm-hmm.
And, but of course I want to be loved. I want to get great things online. I want people to say, "You're brilliant," but I've had so many highs and lows from my films, and so many comments. Like someone was like, "Oh my gosh, this is my top 3 horror film of all time," and they put like The Shining in it. They put something else, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, are you serious? That's great." And some other person is like, "You should kill yourself. You're the worst person on the planet." So it's like, God. I've cried too many tears of joy and sadness that I'm now kind of robotic, but it is kind of all. I mean, we feel like it's a big deal, and I don't know. What do you think? I mean, you're the one too who's so involved, and then or have to deal with me.
It's like another child that you're raising, right? And you become protective of it, and you.
Yeah. And people go on Twitter and that stuff, and they're just trying to be cruel.
Trolls and
I mean, I would
and
hate
that's
to
the
deal
thing
with that.
now, because you got social media, and it's just everybody's got an opinion. Everybody can share that opinion immediately with the world, so it's I think
we try to stay grateful for that we've gotten to do what we love,
right,
and that we do find people that like what we're doing, and that's encouraging, and that's what we try to keep doing and focus on, and who do we really care who likes us and what we're doing? Those are aligned, and then we try our best with the other things, and we let go. And
so the next project is with Lionsgate, you said, and any sense of when that's gonna like where are we at in that process? Is it pre-production, or?
We're almost in pre-production. We're in like pre-production. We co-producers who brought the financing. We have Lionsgate who's distributing, and so to find the right casting that Lionsgate is happy with, and how they look at talent is very interesting, where we're on the creative side wanting to make a good film with actors that we think, you know, are right for the roles. And I think they care about that also, but they also have this added element of knowing exactly how much certain actors bring, how many eyeballs to the screen. And so kind of balancing that with who will bring the most eyeballs, but who also is good for the role, and like playing this dance of, okay, this person. So it's been interesting.
It's like Kerry, like you said, art and commerce.
Yes, it's. Yep, but they're like, hey, we're paying for it, so we're like, okay, you got, you know.
Yeah. Who was your?
They're very respectful too in trying to work with us.
Yes, they've been awesome.
They've been great. So
awesome.
That's great. That's great. Now you're the director of photography on Immanence.
Yeah.
Who's that?
His name was Oscar Jimenez.
Oscar Jimenez, right?
Yeah.
Love the way it was shot, and
Oscar was great. Young up and comer.
Yeah.
He had like a film at Sundance right when this came out. Has another. Right. Yeah, he's got a good eye. He's, I think sometimes we overwhelmed him, you know, but he, you know, stuck to the game plan and was great. It was very, you know, hard. If we were to do this more traditional and had more money, we would have built sets.
Yeah, I thought for sure you weren't on the boat.
Yeah, he was convinced.
I was convinced that, you know, you were probably on a sound stage or something, because
that's a testament to your work.
Yeah, you didn't see any motion.
Yeah, and a testament to Josh, who also, like I said, he's the Swiss Army knife. Like when we sat and did all our posts, he was phenomenal. Like just getting everything out, because what happened is when Summer found the boat, she had months trying to find it and finally found this one. And when we went out on our first location scout, we went outside the jetty. So basically you're inside this little, I don't know, boat runway. When you get outside the jetty, that's like the ocean, and it was just wavy, and it would have been a train wreck to try. Yeah. So when we went out and then tried to turn the boat a certain way, there's just lights galore. So
God.
That's when like Josh was painting everything out and like,
wow.
I think it turned out really good for what we had to deal with.
Oh yeah, without a question. The other thing I love about it too is the score. It's a great score.
Man.
Chad, is that right? No, Chris Bacon,
Chris and Gad, like those guys are freaking.
It was so
amazing. Good. I mean, they're professionals. I mean, if you look at
they're on
like $100 million films.
Yes.
And so what happened is one of our friends, Brooke and Dave Ray, are good friends with Chris Bacon, and I knew that.
Yeah.
And Bacon, I call him the Baconator. I don't know if he knows that. He's so good and so talented. So COVID hit. And I called Dave and I was like, hey, Dave, I know this is kind of weird, but is there any way that maybe you would slide a link or a DVD, whatever I sent him, to Chris? And he's like, I've only done that once. Chris just turned down like a $15 million film, but I will. And Chris checked it out and he's like, man, this is kind of interesting. And COVID hit everything. He didn't have anything. And
he had a block of space that he could fit us in.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Man, it was so awesome watching the film with him and him, how they wrote music for the film just adds so much to it.
It does. I mean, and that's it's really a critical element for like a horror genre, you know, to create that suspense. And it's like its own. If it's done well, it's like its own character in the film, you know?
Absolutely.
That really stood out.
Yeah. Oh, cool. That's great. We love it.
Yeah, no, it was really good. Which, you know, that's the fan base too, because Mike and I have done a number of reviews of different horror movies on the podcast. In fact, one of the ones I was thinking about, that opening shot in Immanence, because Mike and I did a episode on The Fog, which I hadn't seen until like a few years ago. I'd never even seen it. And it was reminiscent of that. It also made me think of the challenge of the filming of it and the cinematography and all that. Just, a lot of obstacles to overcome.
A crew and found a lot of people that were just down for the cause, and a lot of boat jokes from everyone.
Yeah, a lot of nautical humor, I would imagine.
Yes, lots of it.
Yeah.
So, before we let you go, I got to know, Summer, did 25 ever have the $1 million prize?
Never.
Wow.
In fact, it's funny because we shot the first the 2 seasons that I was 25 on Deal or No Deal. I think there was a bunch of people who had it multiple times.
Wow.
And yeah, not me.
You didn't get it.
Wow.
Okay.
I think I had like 900,000 once and like 750,000. Those are my 2 highest ones.
That's nothing
I'll
to
take
sneeze
that.
at.
And I had little numbers, which when people pick you, it's actually good that you want to have the little for them.
Right.
So
right.
It's from my point of view, I'm always going to have little numbers because when I open, I'm like, yay, it's only $1. It's only $5.
Right.
Like, we're still in there.
Yeah.
So I enjoy that energy much more than the,
Well, that's where your acting skills come into play. It's now you mentioned Brooke. Is that Brooke White you're talking about?
Yes, that's the BFF.
Yeah. Now, do you still do the girls with glasses?
We don't as much.
Yeah.
I'm focusing on film stuff. She's focusing on music stuff.
Right.
But we're still BFFs and still hang out a ton and Marco Polo like every day.
Oh, really?
And
give her my best.
Together.
Yeah, give her my best because I was a fan of hers on Idol.
Aww.
And I have her, downloaded on my phone. I was like, oh, yeah. So when I was reading up on you, I saw that. I was like, oh, that's so cool. Okay, the most important thing before we wrap. First of all, you got to tell people how they can get the film, all right? How they can find you. And then I have a question that I have to ask you, a burning question.
Okay, so you can watch Immanence for a limited time on Showtime. So if you have that, go there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't, you can get it on iTunes, Amazon.
Amazon's probably the best.
It's nice and easy.
Nice and easy.
Yes.
I think it's a little cheaper.
Yeah.
And then you can also find us on Instagram, Summer Bellessa, Kerry Bellessa.
Yeah, I'm really big in the Instagram.
That's how we found each other.
Yeah.
You need to get your
yeah, I'm a little slow. Get
you in the mix.
Well, now one thing, okay, I'm not gonna, this is a whole rabbit hole, so I won't go down I won't go down the Brad Pitt clothing, it's not like fashion conversation. We'll leave that for another day. But you've been posting out about Halloween ideas, which is just around the corner. So I gotta know, have you gotten any closer to some ideas this year? What's the family gonna do?
We've been taking some polls, trying to find. Right now, the top one is to do iconic musicians.
Oh.
So that's what we're going to do. And I was going to do Shania Twain. And my 5-year-old's like, I think I want to be Shania Twain. So
there goes Shania Twain.
Battle for it.
Somebody's got to be a grunge person for Kerry, right?
Yeah, we got my boy Phoenix, Kurt Cobain.
He's got Kurt Cobain hair.
He has the hair.
And my mom's like, no one's gonna know who he is. I'm like, yes, we're doing the MTV with the cardigan, the guitar, unplugged. I'm like, it's iconic. Everyone knows who that is. She's like, I don't think I would. I'm like, okay, well, almost
everyone.
Yeah.
Now the other boy would be Bob Dylan. He has crazy curly hair.
Or Elvis.
Yeah, Elvis is big again now too. Yeah.
Just slick it back, his hair.
I think you should all go as Kiss. The whole family should just go as Kiss.
All right, we'll put that on the list.
Get the kid platform boots, that
a lot of action going on.
Yeah.
We had a bat in our house last week. We have a house in Lake Arrowhead, California, right by Big Bear. We had a bat in our house, so we might be able to grab one.
You could go as Meatloaf, bat out of hell. I don't know. That's just I'm reaching now. I'm reaching. Well, guys, it's been a pleasure talking to you. It's always nice to sort of come off the social media or the whatever and like actually meet the human beings behind all the work. So congratulations on all the success in the upcoming project too. Hopefully you'll come back on the show, and
absolutely,
we'll stay tuned in to figure out what you end up doing there for Halloween. But Immanence, check it out now if you want to have the bejesus scared out of you.
Yeah,
check that film out now. Kerry and Summer Bellessa, thank you guys so much for stopping by to talk to us. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having us. We appreciate it.
Have a good evening.
All right, you too. Take care.
Good night.
Bye-bye.